ever seen in a school. This isn't going into my real thing series because that series is funny. This is not. One day when I was student teaching, a random man drove a brand new Bentley without any tags into the staff parking lot and parked right next to the school building. During class changes, he got out of his car and walked into the building with the high schoolers. He circled both the upstairs and the downstairs of the schools 2 or 3 times and approached multiple kids saying, if you come to my car, I'll make it worth your while. 6 or 7 kids agreed and went to his car and he handed each $100. He then told these kids, give me your number. Next time I'm around, I'll let you know. And if you bring a female with you, I'll triple that. He was trying to start a human trafficking ring in the high school parking lot. Out of all of these kids he interacted with, 1 thought it would be a good idea to tell a teacher. 6 hours later. Once admin was told, they were able to look at all the security cameras and confirm that this all happened. This all went down in the parking lot right next to the trailer I was in. I was scared to walk to my car alone for weeks. Story time. One year I was on lunch duty and I saw the SRO running down the hallway. SROs are school resource officers, or police officers. When she got to me, she asked if I'd seen the principal and I said no. So she sprinted to the main office and I had a really bad feeling. Within 30 seconds, our intercom went off and our principal's voice said, ladies and gentlemen, we're in a code red lockdown. For those who don't know, code red means someone's on campus with a gun. We've done drills, but this was lunchtime. No one ever thought about doing a drill during lunch, so no one knew what to do. Everyone started panicking. My classroom was right there, so I grabbed as many kids as I could, as well as the teacher who shared the room. We barricaded the door and I handed out textbooks. The kids were like, what is this? I said, worst case scenario, you hold it in front of yourself. Gave the other teacher the fire extinguisher, said if someone gets in, douse them. I grabbed 2 of the largest pairs of scissors I could find and prepared myself to be able to do anything I needed to protect the kids in my room. Thankfully, no one got hurt in this scary situation. Some kids tried to rob the grocery store down the street. When they failed, they stupidly came back to campus with their guns. It was really scary, especially when we didn't know what was going on. Story time! One year there was a student who stalked me. Some weekends I would go out and she would just be there. And when she wasn't physically there, she would somehow know where I was and would ask me in class, hey, what did you do at this place this weekend? And then it escalated. I was single at the time and on Tinder. The student, who was a female, me too, made a fake male profile in order to match with me. I had a full-on conversation with this person before they revealed who they were and deleted their account out of guilt. I was really freaked out, so I went to our SRO, or school resource officer. He told me I needed to file a police report because 1, what if it gets worse, and 2, what if there's others she's stalking? As it turns out, there was. Eventually, things got so bad, her computer was searched by law enforcement. Apparently, she had folders on people in her Google Drive, color-coded based off of if she liked them or hated them, with photos of them at school and in public places. I'm not sure what she was gonna do with all the information in her folders, but I also don't want to find out. This story was not mine. It was sent to me by another teacher, so send me yours so I can share your experiences. Story time! This is the most conflicting parent story that I have. One semester I had a mom admit she didn't want a mom anymore and was actively trying to get rid of her kid. There were many examples, but they won't all fit. The most common was her making up that he tried to hurt himself and checking him into psych wards. No doctor in the state thought he was a danger to himself or others, so they wouldn't keep him for more than a few days. So she tried to find another to send him to. It was a constant cycle. And when he was back in school, the mom would email me things like, I'm just not feeling it. I think it's best if he and I go our separate ways. He's 14. Around Thanksgiving, she said she was going to send him to his dad's house for the holiday, who was across the country and he hadn't seen for 10 years. She said this was her last resort, and if the dad didn't keep him, he was going into foster care. She also said it was confidential. If I tried to warn him, I'd be sued and fired. I felt helpless. I didn't know what else to do, so I just obsessively checked that he had my email before we left for break. He never came back after Thanksgiving break. I later got an email from him saying that he was okay, he understood what I was trying to do, he would be living with his dad, he really appreciated me trying to help. But that was so conflicting. You don't want mom to get away with it, but you want him away from her so bad. Story time. One year our school received a lot of bomb threats. Just one is super scary and not okay. Our school received 25. 25 times! Someone left a note in the back of the library saying a bomb would explode. You have to take those threats seriously. You can't take a chance on that. After the 10th threat, the principal offered a reward for information that would lead to the arrest of whoever was terrorizing the school. And lots of people came up with fake information for the reward money. After more threats, the reward was raised to $500. One day, I was walking down the hall and saw a student approach the school resource officer. The student was explaining he had information and wanted the reward money. The school resource officer was tired of fake info and didn't take him seriously, and they started arguing. Mid-argument, the SRO was done and just asked, why is your information accurate? Where do you know all this from? The frustrated kid screams, I'm the one leaving the notes in the back of the library! The kid freezes when he realizes what he blurted out, as did everyone around him. He took off immediately, but he didn't get far because the school resource officer got him. Story time. One year, we had something called the Phantom Pooper. A student would break into every teacher's classrooms after school and poop in every single garbage can. I guess the custodians just opened the doors for anyone that said they were locked out. This also took place after the custodians would change the trash can, so the poop would just sit there until the teachers walked in the next morning. It went on for a whole week, and it was miserable. They became known as the Phantom Pooper. Eventually, the principal had enough and decided to wait out after school in one of the workrooms to catch this phantom. He waited for hours until a kid finally showed up. The student started to pull down his pants, and the principal ran out and said, "Stop! No, wait!" Principal told him, "You need to keep your pants on, and immediately right now come with me." Kid looked him dead in the eye and said, "If I pull my pants down and you stick around, that's pedophilia and you can go to jail. So I suggest you let me walk away before I pull my pants down and press charges." Y'all, the audacity these kids have. Story time. One day at school, someone came running into my classroom saying they saw a bomb. Everyone was quickly evacuated and the authorities were called. We even had some military personnel show up. It was really scary. A bomb was found and it exploded, blowing up half a classroom. There was unfortunately one officer who was injured. He received some shrapnel in his thigh. Other than that, no one else was hurt, which is good because it could have been so much worse. No one was allowed in there while they did their investigation. After a couple weeks, they found who planted the bomb. It was this creepy old teacher that was previously fired for stalking a student. How did he get into the school to plant the bomb? Apparently, he was living in the school bathroom ceiling for months. The little living space that he created was decked out with a TV, microwave, the whole works. They also found a laptop that included photos of teenage girls using the bathroom and other private photos that they have no idea how he got a hold of. He obviously went to jail for a good while. Story time. Someone called our school in the middle of the day saying there was going to be a shooting. I was just painting in my art class and all of a sudden police and SWAT team show up, desperate to stop what the caller threatened. The entire school went on lockdown and everyone was really scared. The "oh crap, this is real" moment for me was when our teacher got these giant whiteboards and came to put them over our head where we were sitting to hide us. They weren't super large, they covered all of us, but there wasn't enough room for our teacher. We tried to make room, but she just shook her head and crawled to the other side of the room. We were super worried about her. She tried smiling and comforting us, but you could see her hand shaking and the fear in her eyes. As it turned out, this really screwed up bank robber is the one that called the school as a part of his robbery scheme. He wanted all available officers to be across town at the school so he would have more of a chance to get away with his robbery. There was no shooting or chance of shooting. Which, thank goodness, obviously. But I'll never forget how in the moment when everyone thought it was real, my teacher kept us her first priority the entire time. Story time. This is the story of the biggest fight I've ever seen in our cafeteria. Our school has a huge special needs program. Part of the program is giving these kids special jobs before and after school, like holding the door of the bus lot and greeting kids going in and out of the building. Many of these kids were so excited to get hugs and high fives before school, and a lot had positive relationships with the rest of the student body. One day, our special friends were coming into the cafeteria to get their lunch. They didn't eat in the cafeteria with everyone else, but they passed through once the crowd dispersed so that they weren't overwhelmed but still had social interaction. One of the happiest and sweetest of these students, we'll call him Curtis, was returning to his teacher with his food. He was so busy waving at another student that he bumped into someone. This kid was definitely a too cool for school kind of jerk, and he was not happy someone bumped into him. He pushed Curtis down and yelled at him. Curtis cried. Without hesitation, the varsity football players nearby jumped up immediately. Half ran to Curtis's side to help him up, the other half started laying into this jerk saying he had no right to ever touch him. The jerk's friends jumped in, but they were no match for the football players. Eventually, staff broke up the fight and the jerk was suspended. The principal told the players, "I have to punish you," but unofficially I couldn't be prouder. Story time! A first grader in my class wasn't allowed to see his father. The dad went to jail for abusing the mom and giving the son a black eye. Then the kid started keeping to himself near the fence at recess. One day, the boy came inside with a new toy. He said his father brought it for him. I panicked and said, "When did you see your father?" Student's face went red and he told me to mind my business. The next day at recess, I felt the need to investigate the fence. When I walked up, I saw the dad was hiding in the bushes on the other side talking to his son. When I got close enough to see him, we made eye contact. The dad stood up quickly and reached over the fence to try and grab the kid. He was gonna snatch him and go. I panicked and screamed the first thing I could think of. "First grade, we have extra ice cream in the room, let's go!" Everyone, including the boys, sprinted to me and we quickly went inside. As I was shuffling the kids inside, I saw the dad turn the corner, sprinting for my classroom. I shut and locked the door as quickly as I could. When he got there, he started slamming on it. The kid came up behind behind me, hitting and kicking my legs, screaming that I was keeping him from his dad. The rest of the kids started bawling because they were just scared. Father was taken back to jail, and the kid told me he would never forgive me for ruining his family and he'd come for me one day. I had him put in a different class.